who will be Dustin Poirier's last UFC opponent? I'm going to give you my rankings. I'm going to give you my opinions and let me know down below if you agree or you disagree, because we always love to hear everyone out. And yeah, let's go. Real quick, thank you for the love on the first video that I posted on the channel yesterday. You guys seem to have loved it, so I'm going to keep on posting more content. Let's begin. Justin Gaethje. I'll be honest. I think this is the fight to make. I think out of all the fights, this just makes the most sense, right? It makes the most sense. And it's, in my opinion, the most likely fight as well. Because given it's a 1-1, you know? Dustin Poirier beat Gaethje by TKO in that first fight back in, 2018, 2017, whenever it was. And he got knocked out in the second fight, by a head kick. So there's a lot on the line here. There's a lot on the line. And I think this is just a fight to make. It's a brawl, so it's always exciting. Any time these two are fighting, on any fight, it's exciting. Massive pay-per-view. I feel like they could just stack it off that alone. It's competitive. And I'll give the likeliness an 8 out of 10. Honestly, I think that this is the fight that will happen, and it's the fight to make. I am aware that, Gaethje is fighting Dan Hooker very soon. I believe, as I am making this video it's in March, so in 3 weeks from when I am recording. So they're fighting soon. That could affect, some things. And Dan Hooker is also on this list. So we'll get to him in a minute. But I genuinely just think that this is the fight to make either way. Because I don't think Gaethje is going to go for the title run. Even if he beats Dan Hooker, I don't think he's going to wait till, go ahead and fight someone like Arman or Oliveira, to have a title eliminate or something like that. I don't think that's going to happen anymore. I think this is the fight to make. It's fun. Makes good numbers. Let's run it. It's 1-1. Let's see who can get it done in the third. Next, Max Holloway. Oh, this is a huge rematch. Massive rematch. Holloway has said he's now moved up to the 155 division. He's not staying in 145 anymore after he's got knocked out. He got decked by Ilya. No disrespect to Max. I love Max. Right? But he said he's done with the 145s. He want to come up to 155. And I'll be honest, I'll say this, right? As much as I love that Gaethje matchup, that fight, Gaethje's booked, right? Poirier has been hinting at a big fight in the summer, right? Holloway, he lost to Ilya back in October. There hasn't been any bookings, any rumors for him to fight yet. Neither for Poirier. I feel like this is another big potential fight in the works, I think, they're looking at this because it's a big pay-per-view, massive pay-per-view. These two guys, again, I think anytime you put Poirier against anyone, it's a massive pay-per-view. But Max Holloway is going to be competitive. I give it a 7.5 out of 10. I will give it less likely than Justin Gaethje just because I feel like for the fact that it's a 1-1 and that matchup, Gaethje, Poirier, those guys just go head-to-head, that clash, I think will just be, a way to go out for Poirier. It makes sense. But this, I wouldn't put it out. Honestly, on any given day, it could change. It could genuinely change. Depending on, like I said, how that fight against Dan Hooker goes, we don't know. Gaethje, whatever he wants to do after that. He might lose and he might want to retire. I don't know. But yeah, a Max Holloway rematch would be massive. We don't know how good Max is going to come back after a knockout. Let's be honest. But either way, come on. We would love to see that fight. Tell me he's one person who wouldn't want to see this fight. Yeah, I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. Now, I've already spoken about Dan Hooker, and Justin Gaethje. They're fighting soon. So it could be, potentially the winner of this fight gets Dustin Poirier, or maybe, we'll have to see. But it's a fun rematch. I don't think that it necessarily makes the most sense to make this. But, it's still a fun rematch, especially if, Dan Hooker did beat Gamrot. And now if he goes ahead and beats Gaethje, well, maybe a late, dare I say, title run in his career. Don't think he beats anyone, in the Oliveira, Arman, or Islam. But, you never know. This could be making your way up the rankings. And honestly, if he beats Gaethje, I don't see why they don't make this fight. But if he does lose to Gaethje, then I can see this fight being more likely. It's a brawl. There's going to be blood. It's a big pay-per-view. I'm not going to say it's a huge pay-per-view, but it'll be a pretty big pay-per-view. I am leaning towards Poirier on this one. I'm not going to lie. I feel like Poirier does beat Dan Hooker. Beat him in the first time round. I feel like he beats him the second time round. But then again, we just have to wait and see how good Dan Hooker and, Justin Gaethje look against each other. I would give it a 7 out of 10. Now, these three fights that I've mentioned, I feel like on any given day, it can change. This is just personally what I think. You know, maybe someone thinks differently. If you think differently, let me know down below. But I think, you know, the other two fights are bigger names than Dan Hooker to make for Poirier's last UFC fight send-off, you know? So that's just what I think. Whew, Colby Covington. I'll just start with the likeliness. I'll say it's a 6 out of 10, right? I don't think it's that likely they make this fight happen. At 155, at 170, make it at a catchweight, I couldn't care less. There's bad blood between these two. They've been going head to head for the past few years, man. Everybody wants to see this, but obviously I just didn't have space and it would cut off my lovely presentation right here in the bullet points. Let's continue. Everyone would love to see this fight. Bro, it would, honestly, if I could choose out of all of these fights, I would love to see this fight. Out of every fight I'm mentioning in this video, this would be the fight I would want to see. It's huge. It's massive. Now, Covington ain't going to, he lost to Buckley recently. He ain't going to challenge for, I think it just makes sense. Just make him run it. It's Poirier's last fight. Covington is kind of out of the title picture. For now, anyway, Give him Poirier. Big, massive pay-per-view. I didn't say big, I said massive. I just don't think it's that likely to happen. I would love it. All of us would love it. I just don't think it's that likely. I don't know. Hope we can hope. We can only hope. But this would be huge. Who would I favor in this matchup? I don't even know. Honestly, I don't know. It depends. If it's at 155, I would give it to Poirier. If it's at 170, I don't know. The thing is, I don't know. I would love to see this fight and see how it goes because I can't predict. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But Colby Covington, I would love to see this fight go down. I also would say, next Michael Chandler. We're kind of going down the rankings here, from most likely to least likely, in my opinion anyway. I would say Michael Chandler, since he's lost to Oliveira the second time, he hasn't really said, any big, fights. After the fight, he lost, he called out McGregor again and stuff like that, once Conor and whatnot. But, he's not scheduled to fight anyone right now. There's nothing really going on. It's a fun rematch, I guess. We always know what to expect from Michael Chandler in round 1 and 2. Same thing with Dustin Poirier. It's a good matchup. We're going to get a good fight here. I am leaning towards Poirier again, to get it done. He submitted him in the first fight. I feel like he could knock him out the second time round. He almost had it done in the first time round, but, he had to get him done by submission. Poirier doesn't really like Michael Chandler that much either. He says he's a dirty fighter and all of that. It would do pretty big numbers. It's an exciting, entertaining fight. Two of the most exciting fighters, maybe potentially the most exciting fighters in the division. Michael Chandler is definitely up there. And Poirier, well, it's up for debate. But I'll give it a likeliness of 5 out of 10. I don't think they would have pushed that fight just because the other fights kind of have a bigger reputation isn't the right word. But you know what I mean? Like that Gaethje fight, it's already got that history of 1-1. That Max Holloway fight, a big rematch would kind of make sense. Dan Hooker as well, I feel like would still make more sense than Michael Chandler. Because Chandler, they fought, Chandler lost, and it's kind of like, well, yes, maybe it's a fun fight, but I don't know. I just don't really see it as being favored over the other fights. Maybe it's just me. Maybe that's just me. Let me know though. Final fight. I think who put your write down in the comments right below right now as you're watching this. If you wouldn't want to see this fight go down for the 4th time. Look, it doesn't matter what happens, what the outcome is. The anticipation, the build-up, like, it would just go crazy. But I said a likeliness of 2 out of 10. I would honestly give it a 1 out of 10 now that I think about it realistically. But it's an insane rematch again. Conor's leg break in the 3rd fight. Conor's return. Do you know what I mean? Poirier's final send-off. I don't think that the UFC would never bless us like this. If they do, if they ever bless us like this, the rest of the card is going to be just shambles. It's going to be the worst card I've ever seen in my life. Because if they bless us with Conor's comeback against Poirier's retirement, these are 2 separate pay-per-views right here. But they're going to put it to one. This is a top 3 pay-per-view of all time. Dare I say, maybe even the highest pay-per-view of all time. If this fight goes down. Poirier versus McGregor 4. It's the bad blood between these two. Any single time there's an interview, both of them say, if I see him on the street, we're going down right there and then. Right? These guys don't like each other. I said it's a 1-1-1. I guess they're still up for, yeah, sure, Conor did technically lose. But then again, it's like, yeah, a leg break and stuff like that. So, look, if they just run it one more time, see it as you will. Who cares about these records? I would love to. Who wouldn't love to see this fight? Please tell me. I don't think there's a single person on this planet who wouldn't want to see this go down one more time. Who cares who wins, who loses? Just make them fight again. Huge numbers. Yeah, it would go crazy. But I don't think it's going to happen. I said a 1 out of 10 actually. I think it's a 0.5 out of 10 now. The thing is, Conor could return, especially if it is somewhere in July, still a long time from now. We're supposed to fight last May already. But I don't think it's going to happen anyway. Just finishing off some of the names. I don't think he's going to fight Oliveira. It doesn't really make sense for him to fight Oliveira in the rematch. He's already lost. Oliveira's trying to challenge for the title again. I don't see why he would fight Poirier. It just doesn't really make any sense. Beneil, I don't think he's going to fight Beneil just for the fact that, Beneil, he's a good fighter, right? But he hasn't got that star power name. Do you know what I mean? Like, the other names just have that more weight. They hold more weight to them, And I think Poirier does beat Beneil either way. He's not going to fight Islam. Islam's not giving him another title shot. And I don't, that's not going to happen. And Arman, I just put him down there just because he's, number one or what is it, number one, number two contender. That's not going to happen because same thing as Oliveira. Doesn't make sense. Why would he? Oliveira and Arman is the fight to make. Again, I would say a rematch. So, yeah. But that's just that. And I do quickly want to mention, I forgot to put down one more person here. If you watched the Nelk podcast recently, with Ilia Topuria. Topuria did say he would love to fight Poirier. He would love to fight Poirier. Now, imagine Ilia Topuria versus Poirier at 155. That fight, that makes zero sense, but it's a fun fight. I would love to see it. I would still love to see Covington more just because of the history and the bad blood. But also, I would love to see that fight as much as I would. I don't think it's going to happen anyway. But let me know your thoughts down below, what you agree with, what you disagree with, what fights you want to see, and what did I get wrong, what did I get right. It's all subjective at the end of the day. We won't know it until it's scheduled and it happens. So other than that, let me know what else you want to see, and I'll see you all probably tomorrow or whenever I'll see you. Bye-bye.